Good evening. If someone were to ask me, what's the title of your talk? And I'm not saying this is it, but today, what is today? But before we talk about today, I have a question. What if there's no tomorrow? You know, these days I have found myself talking to the computer a lot. Chat GPT is so interactive, and it's really a quick way to study, to find things. So I was doing a little bit of that. And can you think about when you say, what if there's no tomorrow? There might be an argument that there's really no tomorrow. The famous story is told of the fancy prize that's in the window of the store with the sign on it that the first person to show up tomorrow gets the prize. And then you show up, and the store owner take the person outside and say, "Look at the sign. It says tomorrow." So, so maybe there's really no tomorrow. So this story is often used to illustrate paradoxes, like the fleeting nature of tomorrow, or as a metaphor for procrastination and unfulfilled promises. The twist lies in the fact that tomorrow never actually arrives, because each day, tomorrow shifts towards the next. And there might be some possible interpretation of this. In a philosophical way, it reflects how we chase goals that are always out of reach. Maybe humorously, it could also be a joke about misleading advertising or how businesses can exploit the human psychology with seemingly enticing, unattainable offers. You know, like, yeah, come tomorrow. Can you imagine the amount of people who would line up to try and be the first person in? So one might also say tomorrow exists as a concept rather than a physical reality. It is something that we use to organize time and anticipate the future. Some might even argue that it's really just an illusion. So, does tomorrow really, is there tomorrow? We might be able to debate that, or can. But one thing I know, for sure, tomorrow is not guaranteed. I believe the Bible has some teachings for us that emphasizes the importance of living in the present, trusting God, making the most of the time we're given. If we were to look at Matthew chapter 6 and verse 34, first thing to see is that we are to trust God for the future, whatever it may be. Jesus says, "Therefore do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble." We're to focus on today and trust God with all the uncertainties of the future. Whatever it may be, whatever we may be going through, we ought to look to God. The second thing about today is what is even mentioned in the Psalm, Psalm 118 and verse 24. Familiar to many of us, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So we ought to be making the most of every day. If you couple that with what is mentioned in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15 and 16, look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but wise, making the best use of the time, because the days are evil. Each day that we get is a gift from God, and we should embrace it, celebrate it as such. Will we ever want to wish a day away? Maybe that has happened to some people, but just imagine I woke up not thinking that it's another day that the Lord has made because of what happened yesterday. And man, I wished yesterday never happened. But if yesterday never happened, I would not have been in yesterday. So there's a saying, I don't even remember where I heard it from first. And sometimes I find myself using it, and perhaps I need to use that saying more. Don't leave for tomorrow what you can take care of today. You know, sometimes, not that we ought to work ourselves to the ground, because the bodies, they do get tired and we just have to get some rest. But what about the attitude of, I can take care of this now because this is the time that I have? When we think about our relationships, our relationship with God, our faithfulness to the Lord, can we do better? Do we put it off and say, well, maybe tomorrow or next week, or especially at this time of year, people are making resolutions and they're always thinking, well, in the next 6 months, here's what I want. Here's what I want to achieve in this year, and you look over a long span of time. But even though that's the case, it's only going to happen one day at a time. What about your relationship with your spouse, with your children, with brothers and sisters, with even family members who are outside Christ? You know, this song, You Never Mention Him to Me. I know some people do not like that song because it puts a little burden or make us feel guilty when we would pass someone every day. We are friends, close friends with folks, and never once try to tell them about Jesus. If it's something that you have the opportunity, do it. The other thing, we ought not to worry about the future. Proverbs 27 and verse 1 says, do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. I know that is hard to do at times. But we ought to be thinking that it's just one day we have. One day. Because maybe there's really no tomorrow. If you go to sleep tonight and you happen to wake up, it's today. And it will always be today because that's the time you have. And we ought to wake up each morning realizing it's a gift from God, and we do the best that we can. We are to live with eternity in mind, but be present. Be present because every day towards eternity, it's just one day at a time. James chapter 4, verse 13 and 14 Come now, you who say today or tomorrow we will go into such and such a town and spend a year there and trade and make a profit. Yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that appear for a little time and then vanish away. I truly believe that when we as human beings, man, we speak of tomorrow, talk about it, make plans, it's only an expectation. It's a hope. And maybe intellectually we say, well, it's not certain. But do we really live that way? I don't believe that to be the case with God if he mentions something that is going to happen tomorrow. I thought of not Ezekiel, but Exodus chapter 19 and verse 10. It reads, Then the Lord said to Moses, Go to the people, consecrate them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes. As an example, God said that he wants this done today and tomorrow, so definitely there's going to be a tomorrow. And there are many other cases like that. So, some of the things, like I said earlier, I was talking to the computer. And I was asked this question. So, would you like to help craft a version of the story that I mentioned about the store owner? I was asked this question, would you like to craft a version of this story or exploring its implications further? So I said, there is no guarantee of tomorrow. Therefore, we ought to cherish each day that we get. So the computer talks to me. He says, absolutely. What you have expressed carries profound wisdom. It says, life's impermanence reminds us that the only time we truly possess is the present. By cherishing each day, we honor the gift of now and cultivate gratitude for the experiences, relationships, and opportunities we encounter. I agree with that. So what do we do with things like that if we're living with such a mindset? We express gratitude. We acknowledge the beauty and the blessings in our lives, no matter how small, and also no matter what we may be going through at the time. We're to be present, engage fully with the moment, free from excessive worry, because even though we're exhorted over and over, do not worry. Do not worry about tomorrow. The only time, and you guys are going to have a kick, because when I sleep, I dream, and sometimes I wake up. The only time I put my head down, and there's no worry at all. If you're old enough and you have gone to get a colonoscopy and they put you out, sometimes I've been telling Bonnie, I would like some of that to really go to sleep. But it is hard for us not to worry. But we have to enjoy the moments that we have. We're to act with kindness, take opportunities to show love and compassion, knowing that each moment shared with others is precious. Just a few months ago, a coworker of mine, his father just passed away suddenly. He worked with us as well. And another coworker said to me, You know, he was here just last week, and I didn't even remember to greet him and say hi. Sometimes you don't know when is the next time, that you're going to see somebody. And you hear these things over and over when someone may pass. But we have today. Let us take advantage of those times. Next, we are to pursue what matters. You know, focus on passions, goals, yes. Connections that bring fulfillment. But most of all, I would encourage us, as Jesus said in Matthew 6:33, seek the kingdom of God first and his righteousness. So, I guess the exhortation for this evening is that we have today and today only. This moment that we have. I am encouraged to see each of you tonight. As one of the shepherds here, sometimes you get up and you look out and you say, Sunday mornings, everyone's here. Where are they tonight? Should it be something of concern? Certainly. But you see this moment that we share, and I'm looking out on the faces, all the faces that I know. That matters greatly to me. That's an encouragement for me. If there's anyone here, or I should ask, is there someone here who have not yet responded to the gospel of Christ? Or for those of us who are here, have we been wasting our time, so to speak, not using them wisely? Do we get up each morning and find all the problems that are out there in life without giving thanks that we're actually alive? And I know it's not easy for some. As I get older, I wake up in the mornings, where did these pains come from? But I never wish one time that I should just go to sleep and not wake up. No, I get up and been practicing this. This is the day that the Lord has made. I'll rejoice and be glad in it. So if you're here, having never responded to the gospel, God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten Son. Whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Jesus himself said now to his disciples that they are to go and preach the gospel to every creature. He who believes and is baptized will be saved. And here too, in the Corinthian letter, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 20 on to 6 and verse 2, it reads, "We implore you on behalf of Christ, be reconciled to God. For our sake he made him to be sin who knew no sin, so that we might become the righteousness of God. Working together with him, then, we appeal to you not to receive the grace of God in vain. For he says, in a favorable time I'll listen to you, and in the day of salvation I have helped you. Behold, now is the favorable time. Now is the day of salvation." If you happen to be here tonight, having never obeyed the gospel, now is the time. This moment is what you have. Tomorrow, let's say it's an illusion. It may never come. And today is the 15th. So if you go to sleep and the calendar say the 16th, it's today. Now is the time we have. If we can help you or anyone in any way. Come now as we stand and sing.